Senator Flavio Bravo has cited multiple Democratic reforms and initiatives, specifically in regards to domestic and gun violence. And he says that Republicans in the legislature continue to impede progress on these issues. My first question for you, sir, is what do you have to say to Arizonans about this perspective?
Oh, it's very simple. I'll address Senator Bravo directly. It's very simple. Introduce bills that are aligned with the Constitution, Arizona and U.S. Constitution. So in regards to the Second Amendment, it's very simple. It says shall not be infringed. Now, if you're going to introduce a bill that is anti-Second Amendment in some way at all, if you look at the recent decision of Heller and Bruin, I will tell you, we do have the right to keep and bear arms. And so Mr. Bravo can speak to me at any time, but make sure when you introduce the bill, it is aligned with the U.S. Constitution and the Arizona Constitution, and we'll have a discussion on whether or not I want to hear it.
Okay, thank you.
It's that simple.
Yeah, thanks for your perspective. Are there initiatives that Republicans would consider to address Senator Bravo's specific concern on domestic violence in Arizona, knowing that...
Let me put it this way. You have to look at the root cause of everything. When it comes to domestic violence or gun violence, they're committed by criminals. Guns are only tools, okay? It could be a machete, it could be a pair of scissors, it could be anything. So when you go to pulling out the Second Amendment is a possible cause, you're going to have to look at historical facts. We had crimes back then, before the ratification of the Second Amendment. You have facts at the ratification of the Second Amendment. Was the Second Amendment at any time used to become a solution in solving crimes? Crimes are committed by criminals. So if you want to solve crimes, go after the criminals. So let me address this. In 2023, my seatmate Selena Bliss introduced a bill to educate children about firearm safety. And in that bill, it actually included storage information. And every single Democrat voted against it, and the governor vetoed it. So where do we go from here?
I think that's the prime question is how do Republicans and Democrats move forward with, for lack of a better term, compromise, understanding that I'm not asking you to compromise on your values. But my follow-on question to that is still in regards to domestic violence and understanding that you want to hold criminals accountable. What are your thoughts on individuals found guilty of domestic violence possessing firearms?
You know what? Until you are found guilty of the crime, but at the same time, when those people are found guilty, they should automatically go to jail. So the matter of firearms just doesn't really matter to me. You cannot keep people from accessing firearms. For example, I can go to the back parking lot at a Walmart and buy a firearm illegally. So we're going to have to take a look at criminal activities, and then you have law-abiding American citizens. Okay? So are we going to put legislation to actually infringe the rights of the law-abiding citizen from keep and bear arms? What does that mean? Keep and bear arms, the ability to possess arms to protect yourself. And so that's where I'm at. We're going to have to be black and white between criminals and law-abiding citizens.
Okay, so
until we understand that, we cannot just make a law across the state, across the nation. Now, take a look at the multiple recent court decisions. Every other single anti-Second Amendment bill has been knocked down by federal or Supreme Court judges. Why? Because they are unconstitutional and they are infringing on the rights of abiding American citizens, law-abiding American citizens.
Okay. You paint the distinction between law-abiding citizens and then criminals. So I just want to be clear, if Senator Bravo were to bring legislation forward to hold criminals more accountable with their firearms, is that something that you would support?
I would sit down and talk to them.
So it would at least open the conversation.
Yeah, until I see the language.
Gotcha.
Until I understand the language.
Right.
Gun controls cannot be imposed on American citizens because we have the constitutional to protect our rights to defend ourselves. And that has been reaffirmed multiple times in federal courts.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for your perspective. My last question is really, is there anything that you as a Republican would like to platform to understand or add more to this conversation that I have not asked?
So here's my view on the Second Amendment. I'll just be straightforward. As president of Arizona State Rifle and Pistol Association, it is not my job to expand the Second Amendment. It is my job to recover what is taken away from the Second Amendment. 95% of what we do at Arizona State Rifle and Pistol Association is firearms safety training and promoting competitions. That's what we are. We constantly promoting firearms safety, not the other way around. So I want to make sure that people understand that I am personally, I can't speak for every member of ASRPA, personally as the president of ASRPA, I want to recover what has been or taken away from the Second Amendment rather than expanding the Second Amendment. Does that make sense, Jamie?